Hi, I'm Jessica G, and this is the Just in Time podcast. If you're struggling today, I want you to know this podcast is here for you, but it's not a substitute for professional help. If you're in a crisis or feel unsafe, please call or text 988 or dial 911 for immediate support. There are people out there who will listen and can help. On this show, I'll be sharing personal experiences, mindset shifts, talking with key experts, and sharing real tools that help me go from barely surviving to thriving. This is not about quick fixes or one-size-fits-all advice. It's raw, it's honest, it's what worked for me and what I believe can help others too. Let's walk together from darkness to hope. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Just in Time podcast. We are so excited. Today's guest is someone who literally helped me build my booty. But more importantly, she helped me build strength during one of the hardest seasons of my life. We met in LA when I started training with her, and I was like, teach me how to grow those glutes. And she said, say less. And somewhere between deadlifts and glam sessions, because I had the privilege and honor to do her hair and makeup for a few photo shoots, we became real life friends and talked about things that people weren't, posting or talking about, back then. She knew me before grief hit my life. She knew me before I lost my dad, before I lost my brother, and she knew me after. She was one of the people who checked in on me, not just publicly, but privately. She's a globally recognized fitness model, trainer, competitor, boxer, baddie business owner. She has her own supplement line, her own fitness app, and she's built an empire in the fitness world. But what I love most about her is that she's just as real as she is strong. She once said, check on your strong friends. And today we're diving into what strength really means. This isn't just about abs and those amazing glutes that we all love, but mental resilience. We're going to talk about depression, migraines, healing, and how fitness and movement can literally save your life. I am so honored to have you on this show. Thank you for joining. Welcome, Whitney Johns.
Oh my gosh, can I just get that intro on a plaque, laminated in my room? That was so beautiful. Thank you.
It was only proper. I mean, you are the queen of fitness, and I love you.
It's such an honor to be here, and I just love what you're doing. And it was interesting because we were in each other's lives. We were in the trenches in LA at that time when all of this stuff was hitting you in your life. And I just felt so awful for you, but I also could tell that it was lighting a fire under you of purpose, and that it was sparking in you a mission, which it's so cool to see come to fruition years later. So I'm really proud of you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I remember you inviting me out when I was like, there's no way I could leave the house, but you were probably the only person in the world that could have gotten me out of my house at that time.
We can numb our pain. I'm an expert.
Yes. I remember those nights. They were fun. Let's get into when you first found fitness, what was going on in your life, and what was that like for you? I know that you had said that you struggled a little bit with migraines and some depression. Would you mind telling a little bit of your story about how you kind of started in with fitness?
Fitness, honestly, and I say this all the time, fitness really did save my life. I grew up in chronic pain. I had really bad migraines. I had even just issues with anxiety, depression, even from a really young age. And then it got into hormonal imbalance and just so many things with my system going wonky. And once I really learned how to train my body and strengthen my body, but not only physically, but then I started to really emotionally strengthen those muscles of, confidence and courage. And it gave me this sense of control that even though all these other things were going on in my life and I was having all these other symptoms, this is the one thing that I knew I could do that would make a difference. And I could really anchor my day around it, even if everything else went to crap that day. It's I got my movement in, and I released those endorphins, then I was going to be okay. And that was one thing I could control. And so it was sort of like training wheels to getting back into a better place mentally. And then the physical benefits are kind of a mood boost too. When you start seeing the booty growing, you're like, okay.
I mean, yeah. I didn't know glutes could look like that. And I was like, I want her to be my trainer. I'm like, I want to look like that. No, it's great that you say that, because somebody had reached out to me the other day and they were just like, man, you're running a business, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like, how do you show up on the days where you just feel mentally exhausted? And you said it right there. You were like, stick to your routine. Stick to your routine. And that sounds like exactly like what you did. And it was like, that is kind of a big deal whenever you are feeling mentally down or you've got a lot going on, or you have, all these different elements. It's really sticking to the routine.
Yeah. Well, and even just once
and being consistent.
Even once you start seeing the mood shift happen, it becomes so much more than just about your physique and your aesthetics. It's like, okay, I'm starting to realize and clock, okay, the days, if I go multiple days in a row skipping my workout, my mood crashes. So once I started to really like correlate how my mental health was just totally reliant on physical movement and taking care of myself, because physiologically, like the physiological responds to the physical, right? And so you are physically doing all the things and laying the bricks physically. Your physiologically, it will change. My migraines started going away. My chronic pain started going away. I started to be able to naturally like balance my hormones. And it's just the physiological followed the physical. So once I realized the connection, it was like, oh, I don't have a choice. I have to keep doing this.
I think for some of us, that's like so important. I mean, for me, it was like, after I'd lost my dad and brother, I mean, I had blankets on the windows. I was like, being a hermit crab, I wasn't going out. And that's when you were like, come on, just like get out of the house. Like, let's go. I'm like, I hated my outfit that night, by the way. Do you remember that?
I bet we could probably dig up pictures. Do we have photos from that night?
It's so bad. I was like, I wore the wrong thing. But no, just getting out of the house, taking that first step. What would you say to somebody that is like dealing with tragedy or dealing with depression, or what would you say to them for like first step kind of situations, like just to kind of help them get started so they're not so overwhelmed?
I think the biggest thing is not overcomplicating it when you're first starting back into something. It doesn't mean you have to have a crazy workout program. It doesn't mean you have to be going 7 days a week. You need to just literally move your body. Movement itself is medicine. So even if that's taking a walk outside, walking your dog, dancing in the kitchen, having a little dance party in your underwear, like start with that. Start with just moving your body. Maybe you're just going to stretch for a little bit because you're tight and it's going to help you sleep better. Moving your body and getting that circulation and that blood flow is the first place to start, even if it's 5 minutes, right? So I think building up to, okay, now I feel like I can actually get an hour-long workout. Maybe it's a home workout because I don't feel like I'm not confident enough to go to the gym yet, but I'm going to build up to that place. So I'm going to kind of strengthen my confidence muscles and my muscles at home on my own with light weights. And then eventually I'm going to build more and more confidence to where now I feel comfortable going to the gym. So it's just really like baby steps, honestly.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I hear that all the time. People, especially women, we felt overwhelmed to go to the gym. I mean, that's why I hired somebody like you, and I just got lucky that we ended up becoming friends.
Well, the gym can be really intimidating. And it's funny because
especially Equinox in West Hollywood.
Yeah, right. And you're like,
girl, I was so nervous.
Equinox West Hollywood was where we met, right? Isn't that where we met?
Yes. So, yes. Literally, I was like, I want to train with you. And you were like, okay, say less. You literally said, say less. And then we're training.
Well, and it's so interesting because, like, just to give people context, the West Hollywood Equinox is like the runway of LA and celebrities and models and everybody you see is just like, oh my gosh. So
Little Miss Arkansas shows up.
that was
I'm like, help me,
you still
Whitney,
put everybody to
help me.
shame. And it's like, but I recently, because I'm 6.5 months pregnant now, right? So you and I are going on our pregnancy journeys, which is so funny how parallels our lives have been and our journeys have been.
I know we're literally 3 weeks apart. This is gonna. I mean, I'm excited for this journey. And yeah. Almost said it,
and
but
it's
I'm
like,
not.
I'm not sure if you've experienced this with pregnancy, but I haven't had that feeling of gym anxiety for a long time. And recently I was like, because I really started showing. And I was like, I've been hiding in my basement workouts. Like I have a home gym and I've just kind of been doing that and Pilates and things like that. But I'm like, I have to get back into the gym and actually lift weights because it feels so good. And I am just nervous. The only thing I felt like was holding me back was just other people looking at me. And so I felt like a beginner again, because I feel like that's how everybody feels at the beginning of their journey. And, everybody in their fitness journey, you kind of have that subconscious, like, are they watching me? Are they critiquing me? And whatever. So I had to kind of like build myself back up. And it reminded me just where a lot of my beginner clients kind of start out. And I was able to relate to them better. And I got out there in my workout outfit and I felt like Winnie the Pooh, but I was lifting. I did it.
Exactly. Well, and that's why, a while back you were like, check on your strong friends. And like, you're like this strong, amazing businesswoman, you've reached fitness levels that some people will never even get close to. And you're still, coming on the show, being vulnerable and saying, hey, I'm having anxiety about showing up at the gym, and like normalizing that conversation. And that just like opens up the door. It's like, okay, like it's okay to feel this way, but also you're pushing through that. And it's like, you have to get uncomfortable to grow,
Well, and even going back to the West Hollywood Equinox, just for anybody who feels that nervousness and that self-consciousness, my clients that I was training at that West Hollywood Equinox, celebrities, clients, athletes, models, even they feel that way. They even feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel silly doing that, or they'll kind of be a little self-conscious, or you can tell someone's feeling uncomfortable, even though you think there's no reason for them to feel uncomfortable or unconfident at all. They're this supermodel. What could they possibly be self-conscious about? And I think it's a really important reminder. Everybody has these moments.
We're all human.
Yeah. Everybody has that. So, usually people.
Do you feel like an added pressure because you are such a globally recognized model? Like when you do go out in public or you do go to the public gyms, like, do you feel like more pressure? Is it harder for you, or is it something that you kind of gotten used to? How do you manage that?
I definitely, when Chris and I started trying, because we knew we wanted to have a baby, but I knew that I was going to preemptively have to do a bunch of therapy and mental health exercises with myself before I got to that place, just so that it wouldn't bombard me once I was in it, because I knew it was going to be a lot for me to process and wrap my head around the fact that, most of my career and identity has been around what my physique looks like and how fit I am and how, strong I am. And when you're pregnant, it's this huge act of surrender, and like it humbles the hell out of you, right? So I knew that, okay, I'm going to feel really weak and powerless and not super confident in my body. It's going to change. I'm going to have no control over these changes. So I really need to wrap my head around it and process it now before I get there. And I'm really grateful that I did that work. I still have some days where I'm like, what the hell is going on with my body? And, and going out in public.
I cried last week at work for the first time because I just felt so big, and I was like running into things, and I was like, oh my gosh,
when did I become this person? I don't even recognize myself. And it's like, it's such a beautiful process, but it's also a huge challenge when, so much of your identity is wrapped up in like, you're this hot little blonde Barbie doll. And I'm sure that was part for you too, where you're just like, I feel like a potato right now,
Yeah. I have tree stumps. for legs. Like, they're already short.
Oh my God. No.
I know.
It's definitely a humbling act.
Clothes are hard right now.
It's good. It's character building.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's good to reach out and let someone know, hey, like, I'm so glad, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, Whitney, I had hiccups the other night. Like, wait till you get this. It was so rhythmic, but you like freak out. And there's like such a mental load and anxiety that being pregnant and experiencing all these new changes comes with as well. So it can definitely get overwhelming. So I think like reaching out to your friends, your family, your doctor, whoever it is. I mean, I showed up at my doctor's office because I thought something was seriously wrong and it's hiccups. Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yeah. No, it helps so much to have your people you can rely on. And it's been kind of nice having a bunch of other people pregnant at the same time because we can commiserate.
Yeah. Right? Commiserate.
Literally.
That's true.
Get on the phone and bitch. Is your hips hurting today? Mine are.
Yeah. The migraines have finally kind of dissipated, which is great. That was really rough.
So rough. I talked about
too. At what point did your own healing turn into a mission to help other women?
Once I built my online programs and I started hearing from people like, wow, I feel so strong and I'm getting through, I heard so many stories of like, I am getting through a divorce or I've been in a really low time in my life. And suddenly with this program, I've been able to like get my confidence back and I finally feel good again. And that means more to me than any transformation photo. Like that's when I started realizing that it was so much bigger than just like, hey, let me help you get hot glutes or like a body, it was like it was transforming people's lives. And that was really important to me because that's the entire reason why I went into that field is because of the emotional and mental health transformation that it really brought. So that's been really cool. That's been like the most rewarding part of my work.
Yeah, I love that. On days where you feel maybe not so motivated, what would you say to somebody that like wants to build like an amazing physique and work on their mental health and do all that on the days that they just like feel really, really low but need to push through? What's something that you tell yourself?
I think one reminder for me is that the universe responds to momentum, right? And it's like, if you can put yourself into a place of just starting on the right path, right? Versus just staying stuck and like discouraged and blah, and I don't feel like it today. It's like, we don't all wake up motivated. We cannot. We have to, at that point, rely on discipline, but also intuition of like knowing that if I just put my friggin' leggings on and get out the door and just get in the car on the way to the gym, okay, I'm going to start feeling like a little better about the fact that, okay, I'm doing something for myself. I'm showing up for myself. I'm going to feel better after this workout. Even if I'm going to do 20 minutes. I'm going to do a 20-minute movement. Usually once you get in motion, the universe is rewarding that momentum and also like gassing you up and giving you a second wind. And then you want to go through for an hour. And all of a sudden you're like, cool. Like, but you can't experience the momentum and that kind of that universal push without taking some steps yourself. So I think like, and then just remembering, like anchoring yourself to the fact that I know my mood is going to be so much better. I know I'm going to feel so much better. I know my butt's going to look so much better if I just get this one.
Right. It was the glutes for me. I mean, hello. I was like, that's awesome. I'm still working on them, girl. I'm gonna buy like
I saw your video the other night with your ankle weights. You're looking good. You got some gains coming.
I didn't know those ankle weights existed until I saw you using them. I was like, oh, Whitney's doing this. I'm buying this. I'm buying that. I'm buying this too.
They're the best.
Hey, those are like the big heavy duty ones too.
I know you didn't take any of that weight out too. I could tell they were like the full version of those ankle weights.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed.
Yeah. Yep. I did actually, in honor of you today, I did a booty workout this morning with those ankle weights.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love what you said about momentum, because I think it's really true, because it's really hard to get going again. Like, it's harder to get going than it is to just keep going. And so I think that's something that's really important for our listeners too. I mean, like, just don't give up, like, keep going. If you do get stuck, knowing that it's going to take like so much more effort and like mental effort first to like get moving. So I love that you said that. And then also, I just lost my train of thought. It's all good. Pregnancy brain. We'll blame it on that.
Happens.
Pregnancy brain. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
I'll just have like a brain fart. I'm like, oh, what was they saying?
I have two assistants at work. One's Riley and Mayanna. And I was like, hey, Rihanna. I mean, so
different people.
They have a nickname. Yeah. It's so funny. Let's see here. So I wanted to ask a couple personal questions. I know we kind of talked about this before, so I made sure it was okay. Because we do run a nonprofit for suicide education and prevention. And really, it's all about mental health. Really, mental health is suicide prevention, mental health prevention. I thought about rebranding it because suicide has such a stigma to it, but then I just feel like I'm kind of like a part of it, being a part of that stigma, like even though it hasn't been broken. So I'm really grateful that, you were, open to talking about your personal struggles. So the one question I wanted to ask you is, have you ever struggled with suicide, ideation, or suicide attempt, or just having those thoughts in general?
Yes. So, when I really had a moment of real darkness, where I was super low. I was not taking care of my body physically. I was abusing substances here and there. I wasn't being like kind to my body. And my self-talk was so harsh. And it was, I was making decisions that I wasn't proud of. And I was just kind of in this downward spiral. And this was really before I got very diligent about my routines and my health and my gut health and my hormone health. Like, that's another huge component too. But I found myself so depressed, and I went down a rabbit hole, and I kind of, those moments where you sort of like wake up in the middle of what it is you're doing, and you sort of have a realization and you really get present with what's going on. And I realized that I was Googling ways to end my life, but then I took it even one step further, researched all these methods, and it might not stick, might not finish the job with this way. You might just end up a vegetable that way. So how do I make it stick? And once I was like Googling, how do I make sure I finish the job? It was like, I had this massive wake up call. I was literally on my bathroom floor in LA. And it was just like, how did I get to this point where I'm literally considering ending my life and really wanting to like make it stick? How did I end up here? And it was a really big wake up call. And I also think that, it was a big wake up call to fix a lot of like just internal systems in my life as well. I realized, okay, I have to start loving myself. I have to like start treating myself like that little girl that didn't get the love that she needed or didn't get enough. My inner child is wounded here. And it was like this massive wake-up call of like, okay.
It's like reprogramming your brain.
Yeah. Like, if I were a parent and this is my little 5-year-old version of me, how would I talk to her? How would I treat her? How would I help her take care of herself? How would I help her do the things that I know would make her feel better? Right. And so it was a really crazy wake up call. And it was, I feel like it is a shame that suicide and suicidal ideation have such a stigma, because I think it's so much more common than people would realize. And a lot of people would look at me yeah, a lot of people would look at me from the outside looking in and think, how did she end up there? There's no way she would end up like getting to that low of a place. And I definitely did. And I think it's really important to remember, like, we are all capable of getting that way. And we are all capable of having those weak moments. So that's why it is really important to check on your strong friends and help everybody feel loved and supported, and make sure you're kind of checking in on your peeps.
Well, thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable. I hope that people that are listening today kind of realize like that they're not alone. And you're looking at two strong women that have overcome that. That was something that I had struggled with for 20 years. And then after losing, family members, I thought there's no way. And when you lose hope, that's a scary place to be. But I'm so grateful like that you're here today. Couple weeks ago, I've been trying to like limit the depth of a lot of the suicide stuff while I've been pregnant. And that's why I was like really intentional about kind of like what we talk about, because like emotions are like 100 times stronger, and something can just like hit you a little bit too strong, and you got to take a moment away from it to like kind of work through that grief sometimes. Because it's like, as resolved as we probably both are, grief still hits us. We still deal with those moments. We still have those things. And so, but a couple weeks ago, it's going to be released, I think next week, is I just kind of wrote this thing out and I just read it. Because I'm also trying to get ahead of like the podcast as I go into like my maternity leave, because I want it really to enjoy like time, with baby and not be focusing so much on that for a couple of months. So I'm doing some like extra episodes and looking for guests. If anyone's got a story to tell, please reach out, DM me. We'd love to have you on the show. But I Googled like you. I Googled, this is a long time ago when I was struggling. Why do people kill themselves? And the name of my podcast is going to be Why I'm So Grateful I Didn't Kill Myself. It's like super like heavy, and it's a little edgy, it's a little strong, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because like that just kind of speaks to my heart. And I'm like, okay, that was the right thing to name it too, because it's like this search engine optimization can work for the greater good. And that's what we're here. We're here to help save lives. That's why Whitney joined us today, to help break the stigma and to normalize the conversation. And to know like, hey, you're not alone. No matter if you're a super fitness model or you're sitting on the couch eating potato chips every day, like every single person's life matters, Now the value you bring to the world may be a little bit different, but everybody is worthy and everyone matters. What would you say to someone that's listening right now and struggling with depression? Maybe they're having self-image issues. What would you want them to know?
I think like for me, what really helped me is like with my own issues, my own harshness towards myself, like I mentioned, was the inner child work. I really learned that in therapy. And it's like, if you could have compassion for that little person in you that is hurting, and you can treat you like you would look out for an innocent little child that is hurting, or somebody that you just love and adore, like your niece or your nephew, and like really correcting your self-talk and the thoughts in your mind, and really reparenting that little child, I think was a huge key for me, because it was like, oh, okay. Sometimes we think that we have to be hard on ourselves, or, we have to beat ourselves up because we don't look the way we want to, or we're not, acting in the way that we want to. And it's like, that can be corrected with love, but you really have to figure out self-love. And it sounds so cliche. I can't tell you how many like therapists I worked with that would talk about this self-love. And I'm like, yeah, I love myself. I got it. But I didn't really get it until I started looking at it in the way of the self-love. Or excuse me, as I didn't really understand self-love until I got the inner child concept. Once I got the inner child concept, it clicked for me. It was like, oh yeah, like I wouldn't treat a poor little innocent child that's having a hard time with harshness over love. And so I just kept using that as sort of like my anchor back to, every time my thoughts would veer into a place of negativity or harshness on myself, or, I would really use that imagery and that visualization of that little child to just keep correcting course. And sometimes it would take 100 times a day, right? Like you just have to keep doing it over and over and over again until it becomes a habit.
And that's neuroplasticity, what she's talking about, you guys, like continually doing something and reprogramming your brain. Because a lot of us are wired, and that's what the nonprofit is based on. It's harnessing neuroplasticity to fight mental health, harnessing neuroplasticity to fight suicide. So because you end up in a place on the floor in your bathroom in LA because of that negative self-talk, because how we think is how we feel. And if we're feeling a certain way, it's because we're thinking a certain way. So what she just said was harnessing the power of neuroplasticity. And she said she had to do it over and over and over and over again. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I wouldn't let my feet touch the ground till I told myself I was going to have a good day. I was like, going to have a good day. My dad just died, but I'm going to have a good day. Great. I didn't believe it, but I faked it until I felt it, and then went off the emotion, and then went into the momentum that you were talking about, and just continued to keep going down that road. You're going to be a great mom. You are going to be such a great mom because you have all of this awareness. And I mean, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you too.
Hey, I know. We gotta get our babies together.
Oh, we are. We're Lake Life. You're coming out, girl.
We're coming out.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna be such divas. One other thing I want to talk about, and then I'll kind of close it up here, is something I kind of want to talk about just because it's like coming up right now for me, is defeat. So last week I was like talking to the girls at the salon about, because they're like, oh, you're still working out and you're pregnant and da 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 da. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, is it getting harder? I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, like, I literally don't want to work out right now. I'm so tired, but I'm like forcing myself to, because I don't want to get mom butt. And I like worked so hard. I don't want to lose like what I gained. And also it's about mental health. I think when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, you're defeating your own self. And that can really affect your mental health, And so that's kind of one of the things that I recently just been like stuck in my mind. It's like, if I say I'm going to do that workout, I'm going to do it. Oh, and the other thing too is when I was in such a dark spot, because you actually met me when I was going through a really difficult breakup, and then my dad and brother died. But like I reached out, I hired a trainer. I reached out to Whitney because I could not motivate myself. And I knew if I made a commitment to somebody else, like a trainer, that I would show up. And then just happened to fall in love with Whitney and we became friends, luckily. But like, not everyone gets to be as lucky as me, I guess. But yeah, every time I think about you, I'm just like, I freaking love her. I'm like, look at my friend, like my husband. I'm like, all the girls at the salon, like everybody I know, I'm like, do you know who she is? You know who she is? You know, she's amazing.
You're the best. You're the best. No, it's so true.
Yeah, I think like my whole town is obsessed with you.
With the pregnancy workouts, I think that it's super humbling. You do not feel as capable, and exercise becomes more about like the reward is not there. You're not like, you don't get the same reward of like looking better. You don't always.
You can't even. I'm like, where are my shoulder cuts?
It's kind of like it feels a little bit like a thankless job aesthetically. However, I think it's such a good exercise for just anybody with their training wheels of training. It's like sometimes you don't see the results come in right away. It's not about instant gratification. It becomes more about, okay, circulation, the neurotransmitters that you're creating, you're shifting your chemistry, which then shifts your mood. But then also just emotionally, I think it's a really big identity shift to come from a place of like, I showed up today for myself because I'm worth taking care of today. I am worth prioritizing.
And that's what makes your mental health stronger.
Yes. And it's like,
because you followed through.
Exactly. Like you keep these commitments to yourself. And the more you keep your commitments to yourself, no matter what the reward is, you're strengthening this confidence and this belief that you matter. And that like, so there's something really emotionally that you have to tap into when it comes to like working out while you're pregnant or injured or, just getting that movement in because you love yourself. Turning it into that is really important.
I think that's such a good point too, because I have felt like that. And what I keep telling myself is I'm eating more protein. I'm going to get booty gains. I can't miss my booty workout. Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, when summer comes, I'm going to do a 12-week fit with Wit shred and everything will be great.
And then watch out, world. Postpartum coming for all of you.
I feel like I'm like gonna really like go for it after this, because it's like you just want to feel like yourself or like feel good again. Well, Whitney, thank you so much for joining this podcast. It really means a lot to me and all of our listeners. You are such a bright light in this world, and so many women look up to you, and you have impacted our world in such a great way and ways that you'll never know just by, sometimes like the work that we do here. It's like we never know how many lives that we actually touch, but if one life was saved or if we made an impact on somebody, then it was all worth it. Strength isn't just what you lift, it's what you carry.
I love that.
That was I had like big ones. I know I'm a little cheesy.
No,
I'm still cheesy.
I love it. I'm so proud of you, and I love the work that you're doing. And it's such an honor to be on. And feel free for people to reach out. Especially I do a lot of coaching. A lot of it's obviously the diet training aspect, but a lot of it's also the bigger pieces of your mental health, your hormone health, and your gut health, which all work so simultaneously together for this healthy ecosystem for you to actually have that clarity and the energy and the vitality. It's such a bigger picture than just the physical aspect. So I would love to, I'm definitely taking more coaching clients. So don't hesitate to reach out if, you feel like that's something.
Yes. What is I actually you did some recommendations the other day as far as supplements go. And I think it was choline and DHA. I wasn't taking that. And then after you posted that, I was like, honey, Whitney's taking this. She knows all the things. I need to be taking it too. And I swear, I haven't told you this yet, but like I've been taking it now for about 3 or 4 weeks. It's the DHA, like the fish oil, whatever. I got it at Whole Foods. But your supplement line, does your supplement line have one?
So I don't do DHA, but we have our gut health straw, which is like an amazing way to just get, this is my new formulation that I'm sampling, actually, the new straw that's coming out. But getting that daily fiber, getting that inflammation control, like when you're pregnant, that choline is so important, the magnesium, the DHA. There's so many things that you can take that are just going to help manage like your inflammation levels and, your well-being in general. There's so many tools now, right? Like there's just so many tools now that I have in my life that I didn't back when I was in that really low place, it's such a night and day difference. Because I implement the tools and I have to stay in these rituals and like I kind of don't really have a choice, and it's okay to like we can't just be raw dog in life and expect to thrive, right? There's too many tools out there to help with living your best life and really improving your quality of life. So like seek them out, get
And now I see like you're getting into the peptides, which is like amazing. For our listeners, can you tell them your Instagram handle, your supplement line, and your Fit with Wit, like where they can find you to go and follow you?
Okay, so Instagram is at Whitney Johns. You can go to my website, whitneyjohns.com. That has my supplements on there where you can purchase those. We're also on Amazon under the Whitney Johns Nutrition store. So the line is called Whitney Johns Nutrition. It's focused on hormone, brain health, and gut health. And then for the coaching programs, it's findyourfitwithwhit.com. But everything's on my website, whitneyjohns.com. So just find me there or reach to me, shoot me a DM. I love hearing.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining the show. Again, if you have a story to tell or you want to come on the show, please DM me and let's help save one life at a time. Thank you for joining Just in Time.
Thanks, darling.
If you're struggling, remember, how you think is how you feel. If your feelings feel heavy, start by shifting the thought. You're not stuck. Your brain can change. So can your story. I'm Jessica G. This is the Just in Time podcast, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep going, never give up, and remember, the world is better with you in it, whether you believe it or not. To help reach others, please share this with your friends, family, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and donate.